So basically at this point, you can say I'm the fish master because I'm like a month deep now and I've had no dead fish.
It's time for the Garage Boozing Podcast.
What's up, nerds? And welcome back to another episode of the Garage Boozing Podcast. I'm your host, the man with absolutely no plan, the Chase with the face for radio, Chase Shurga. And in this week's episode, I am joined by one very special guest, me, myself, and I. That's right, just me. This week we have no guest, no pair of guests. We just have me, the driving force behind the Garage Boozing Podcast. So yeah, to be honest with you guys, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do a solo thing for a minute. And by a minute, I mean one episode, because I have no idea how long I'm going to be able to talk to you guys about what, because it's like talking to a wall. Usually having a guest here is really easy because you just turn the mics on and have a conversation. Now it's just me talking to a wall. Well, to a camera, I guess, but in a microphone. But it's just me talking. So how long can I have a conversation with myself? I don't know, but we're about to find out. Because to be honest with you, I got a whole box of wine here. And yeah, that's right. I just said wine, not beer. I'm not drinking beer tonight. I might take a shot. Who knows? Maybe have a beer or two. I like to mix and match, a little variety. Variety never hurt anybody. But yeah, I got a box of wine. I'm feeling a little fruity, so I said, you know what? Send it. Let's go solo. So here we are going solo. And to be honest with you, back to the wine thing, I've become a big wine guy lately. I'm not gonna lie. Don't get me wrong. I do love me a natty light all the time, anytime, whenever. But like when it comes to wine, dude, wine just hits different. But then again, I'm not one of those people that like pours a wine, like you get wine at a restaurant, you go out somewhere, you get a glass of wine. It makes no sense that they give you this big wine glass. Well, I mean, I guess like half of it's just the little stand part, but like the glass part, and they fill it up like a fourth of the way. What the hell is that? How do you order a glass of wine and get a fourth a glass of wine? That makes absolutely no sense. So me with my box of wine here, I'm pouring that shit all the way to the top. Like it makes no sense. Like get your money's worth. I will never go out to eat or to a bar and order wine for that reason. You get gypped. I've yet to go to a place where I order a glass of wine and they give you an entire glass of wine. It just doesn't exist, which still makes no sense to me. I guess you got your wine snobs that like to like twirl it around the glass and like smell it. Sure, like yeah, wine smells great, but it's not here to smell. It's here to drink. So drink your wine and shut up. But when it comes to wine, honestly, when I first started drinking wine, I've been drinking wine for years, but on occasion. But like lately, like getting the box of wine, having a glass of wine after work. Well, first of all, before you guys are like, oh, you're drinking wine every day. The doctors say wine is good for you. A glass of wine a day keeps the doctor away. True. You look it up. It's on Google. But when I first started drinking wine, I was a red wine guy all day. Red wine, 100%. Merlot, let's do it. But I started to notice, because, you have one glass of wine, one glass turns into two, turns into three, turns into a million. Red wine does me dirty the next day. The next day, I am super hungover from red wine. So a friend of mine was telling me, like, drink some white wine. Like, it tastes great. Usually, for the most part, it's a little sweeter. I know there's the drier ones out there, but yeah, like it tastes better, and you get no hangover in the morning. I'm like, really? So I'm on a white wine kick. I've been having white wine, and it's not bad. It's a little sweeter, but my wine I like very sour. I like very sour wine, but I can sacrifice that to not have a hangover the next day. I don't think that's irrational. I think that's an educated, smart person decision. But you know what I've really been enjoying with my wine recently? Star Wars. That's right, I said Star Wars. So, those of you who don't know me very well, I always tell people all the time, never seen Star Wars. Like, it took me, I'm 27 years old, 27 years to see Star Wars. And I started it recently because I had like 3 days off from work because of the holiday or whatever. Dude, why did I not watch Star Wars before? I always thought it was like this geeky, nerdy, like movie series. Yo, throw that stereotype right out the window if you've never seen Star Wars. Star Wars is sick, man. It depends on who you talk to as well, because I don't know, for those of you that haven't seen Star Wars, I'm going to speak Chinese to you for a second here, but those of you that have are going to understand exactly what I'm saying. So Star Wars originated with, in I think it was like 1977, whatever. The first movie that came out, which was originally Star Wars, but then it became a Star Wars A New Hope Episode 4. So the way it came out now, so it originally came out, episode like 4 came out in 77. Well, the first movie came out in 77, second in 80, and then the third one in 80, whatever. But then the sequels to that came out around 2000, they weren't sequels. They were actually prequels. prequel. I don't know how to say it, but you know what I'm saying. So the movies that came out later were actually took place before the original movies. So then they went back and revamped everything. And the first movie that eventually became the fourth movie that came out. And then the second movie was the fifth, and the third was the sixth, which actually weird. But anyway, so me never seen Star Wars before. I started with the fourth movie that came out, which was then rebranded to the episode 1 because it was a prequel, whatever, however the hell you say it. So I went the movies that came out around the 2000s, 1 through 3, which were the 4 through 6 movies that came out, but they are episode 1 through 3. I hope this is making sense. And then I watched first, second, and third movie that came out, which are episode 4, 5, and 6. Strange how they're hopping all over the place. But I just finished episode 5, which was the second movie that came out, but it's episode 5. So anyways, yeah, I went the order of the second set of movies that came out, but were 1, 2, 3, and then went 4, 5, 6. When a lot of people were telling me to go the order that the movies were released. But I think that would get a little confusing. So I like the fact that I had the backstory before, and yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. But those of you guys that have seen Star Wars, that are the Star Wars fans, like, what do you think? What do you think is the best way to watch it? But it is so funny to me because I went so long like saying that I've never seen Star Wars, and now I finally have. And there's a list of movies that I've never seen before. So like one of them for the longest time was Forrest Gump. I just watched that like last year. I know people would always make like Forrest Gump quotes, and like I don't know. It's just one of those movies I never saw. Just like another movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Never seen that. What's another movie I can think of? I don't know. I got a whole list of them that like when some people bring up this movie, The Ringer. I've never seen The Ringer. Yeah, I don't know. I just have a whole list of movies that people bring up all the time. I'm like, oh, I've never seen it. All right, what do you want from me? Like, I can't watch every movie ever made. I guess I just live under a rock or something. I don't think I'm in the minority there. I feel like there's a lot of movies that people... Actually, I know a lot of people that haven't seen Star Wars, which people thought I was nuts. Oh, by the way, never seen Lord of the Rings either, which people are going, oh my God, never seen Lord of the Rings. I guarantee half of you have never seen the Lord of the Rings, so relax. I hear my dogs barking. Why are they barking? Yeah, I have 3 dogs. I've got a whole zoo going on in my house. So I've got 3 dogs, and I've also got a fish tank full of fish, and I was so happy to get these fish. So this was like 2 months ago. I don't know. I'm a very impulsive person, not going to lie. Like if I think of something, I'm like, that's a good idea. I'm going to do that thing that day. So the idea popped in my head to get a little aquarium with like fish and stuff like that. So I got a little 20-gallon tank, and I got these things called a glowfish. Why I got glowfish, I don't know. I was just in the pet store where the fish were, and like these glowfish look so cool. They like glow in the dark and stuff. So I buy the tank, and I started off with like 4 glowfish. So when I first became a fish dad, the fish master, I like to say, I didn't know you could overfeed fish. I didn't know that was a thing. So like I fed my fish the first day like 6 times because I was like, I don't want them to starve. I want to make sure they have enough food because I thought they would be like a human or like anyone else where like when they have enough food, they stop eating. Yeah, not the case. So the first week, well, actually the first day, I had 3 of my fish die overnight. I'm like, holy shit, what's going on here? I had 1 fish living. Went to the pet store the next day, got some more fish. The next day, like 2 fish were dead. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? These fish, like I'm paying $10 a fish here. Like, is there a warranty? What's going on? The next day, there was like, I went back to the pet store, got a couple more fish, and there was like, they were all still living the next day. And then the day after that, I think 1 died. So a friend of mine, I was talking to him like, all my fish are dying, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, oh my God, you overfed the fish. I was like, what? You overfed them. I said, that's a thing? I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know fish could die of overeating. Like when they're in their wild and they can eat as much as they want. Like how do they know not to eat more? I'm just sprinkling fish food in there. If they're not hungry, don't eat it. Like is what I thought. And then I come to find out that you can overfeed fish. That blows my mind. Blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, no way. So then the next day I went back to the pet store and got a couple more fish to make sure I had could fill up the aquarium. So I got like 8 fish now, which haven't died since I stopped overfeeding them. So basically at this point, you can say I'm the fish master because I'm like a month deep now and I've had no dead fish. But before that, I was just learning. You know, I was like a young Jedi learning how to build a fish aquarium. But now I am the fish master. These fish are thriving. I bought 1 little fish when it was like super tiny and it's already growing. Thing's grown like an inch since I've had it. Okay, probably not an inch because that's a lot for a fish, but like they're growing. They're getting bigger and they're all happy and loving life and. Yeah, I'm the fish master now. Yeah, fish master. Natural Light Beer. Natural Light Beer is the king of beers, the top shelf beer, the best beer on the market, and actually one of the least expensive beers on the market. So you're doing yourself a disservice when you're buying beers that are more expensive than Natural Light because Natural Light is better and it's less expensive. It tastes great, goes down smooth. So what are you doing? So go to www.naturalite.com to find Natural Light closest to you. And by the way, they've got seltzer, they've got hard lemonade, they got all this stuff, man. Like Natural Light, they're doing their thing and they're killing it. Naturalite.com, Natural Light beer. Go get some Natural Light. You won't regret it. All right, back to the show. I love me a good commercial break. Love Natty Light beer. But wow, what a past year we just had in 2020. I'm glad to get into 2021, but who knows how crazy this year is going to be, because last year was absolutely bananas. Corona, dude, who would have ever thought that we would see something like this in our lifetimes? I didn't. I didn't even think this could be a possibility. Holy shit, what a year. Wearing masks everywhere you go. Everyone's afraid. You got to be 6 feet apart. Wow, fear. Fear is the definition of America right now. And honestly, I want nothing more. I want nothing more than the world to go back to normal. So just do your part, dude. Just wear a mask. Just follow the guidelines. Just get this shit out of here. Because honestly, Corona ruined so many trips for me this year. One of them being WrestleMania, which is my favorite trip I look forward to every year. Me and my group of friends, we go to WrestleMania every year, ever since WrestleMania 33. So we went to 3 WrestleManias in a row, and then Corona happens, which stunk. And it's so cool because WrestleMania gives me a reason to travel with my friends, because WrestleMania is in a different city every year. So dude, I got to see New Orleans, got to see Florida, New York City, which I live a couple hours away, but I barely ever go to. I've been there probably 10 times in my life. But dude, it's just nuts. I don't know, man. The world is so crazy right now. And in the beginning of this, we always heard the new normal, and it's so crazy because that's what it's becoming. You walk into Walmart, you see someone without a mask, you're like, oh my God. Freak out. And it's just dude, I don't know, man. I just want life to go back. I want to be able to travel with my friends. I want to go to WrestleMania. Dude, WrestleMania is it's like the Super Bowl of wrestling. I know a lot of you probably aren't wrestling fans. I'm a huge wrestling fan. Wrestling is so fucking cool. And I've watched it my entire life. Like I said, it's a great reason to take a week off, a week vacation, go to a different city, explore that city, see the town, and just have fun. New Orleans was the best WrestleMania I ever went to, by the way. New Orleans is sick. New Orleans has Bourbon Street. A lot of you probably heard of Bourbon Street. Anyway, Bourbon Street's the big bar street in New Orleans. But New Orleans, the city of New Orleans, has no guidelines when it comes to alcohol. You can walk into one bar, get a beer, and then walk across the street, go to the other bar with the beer still in your hand, and enter that bar with that beer, walk across the street, walk in the street, drinking your beer. They don't care. So me and my friends went to WrestleMania in New Orleans, experienced New Orleans, fantastic time, super fun. And the day of WrestleMania, we like to do a little pregame. So we're drinking at the bars in New Orleans, and we get these big hurricane grenade drinks, whatever the hell they're called. And we're just walking down the street of New Orleans, walking to the arena that WrestleMania is at, with our drinks in our hand and stuff. And no one cares. Everyone's doing it. It's just a thing in New Orleans. You can drink wherever you want in the city. That's cool. Every city should be that way. Speaking of wrestling, I will never forget when I was in, I think, second grade. It was 2002, 2003, whatever. I don't know. I went to a SmackDown live show with my dad, and this was in the Pepsi Arena at the time in Albany, New York. That's the capital of New York. New York City's not the capital, by the way. Albany, New York, which is 45 minutes away from me. And so we go to the Pepsi Arena. We're there for SmackDown, and we had floor seats, which were very very close to the ring, but more towards the entrance ramp. But every time someone came out or there was a big thing happening, they'd let you run up and sit by the guardrail. So at one point, I was able to run up and get right next to the ring. And it was a match. It was The Undertaker. We've all heard of The Undertaker. Absolute legend. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, you know who The Undertaker is. So The Undertaker was facing this guy, Albert A-Train, whatever the hell his name was. And Undertaker comes out. This time he had a motorcycle gimmick. Riding his motorcycle right down the Titantron, right down the entranceway. Gets to the ring, gets in. There was a girl next to me with a clown hat, a clown wig. And I was talking to her during the entrance, and then I look up and I see a shirt flying at me. The Undertaker took his shirt off and he was throwing it directly at me because I was the youngest kid there in the front row, and throws it to me, and I don't even know the shirt's coming at me. So I look right as it's coming, and I go to grab it, and that girl with the clown wig next to me grabs it, and then I'm like, oh shit! So then I try to grab it, and me and her are tugging over it, and you can actually, I'll find the clip somewhere, I'll post it, but you can see the clip, and it's for a couple seconds you can see us fighting over the shirt. And the security guard comes over. He goes, hey, give that to the little kid. She goes, no, I caught the shirt. He goes, he was throwing it to the little kid. Give it to the little kid. So she lets go. I have the Undertaker shirt in my hand. I'm like, oh my God. I got to show my dad. So I run back to my dad. I was like, Dad, look, I caught the Undertaker shirt. He threw it to me. Long story short, my dad went to a place the next day, got it framed. I've had it framed ever since. It's still in my room. Awesome. It's probably worth some money by now, I think, right? Gotta be. But yeah, man, WrestleMania is so cool. Wrestling in general. Like, honestly, if you're not giving wrestling a chance, you're missing out, because people are always like, oh, wrestling's fake. Yeah, okay, we all know that. But it's more scripted than fake. There's a script. But if I'm throwing you through a table, jumping you through a ladder, like hitting you in the head with a chair, that's not fake. You can't fake that. There's no stunt double. Like, that happens. It hurts. Wrestling does hurt. So I wouldn't say it's fake. Fabricated, maybe. But definitely, like, pre-planned. Like, there's that. We all know that. But then again, you watch a Hollywood movie. Any movie you watch isn't real. It's a movie. But we all watch movies, and then we all talk shit about wrestling. So, open your eyes a little bit. Give it a chance. Trust me. It's good stuff. It's funny because you know what really actually got me into wrestling? It was a movie. It came out around 2000. It's called Ready to Rumble. Wrestling fan or not, this comedy movie is absolutely hilarious. The backstory here is there's a wrestler who was wrestling for WCW at the time, an old wrestling league. Wasn't actually a wrestler, just a movie actor. But long story short, he like gets screwed over by the company and like goes to like hibernate and like try to retire and quit or whatever. And he has these two big wrestling fans that are wicked big fans of him, and they try to get him to go back into wrestling. So wrestler's name is Jimmy King, by the way. So the two main characters who were like working at a porta potty company, like flushing out porta potties, huge wrestling fans, somehow convinced Jimmy King to get back into wrestling. Long story short, the movie's just so absolutely hilarious. It's like half wrestling, half absolute comedy, and I highly recommend it. But yeah, that's what really drove my interest in wrestling. And I will tell you, just to tell you how funny this movie is, there's one scene where one of the main characters, big fan of the wrestler, trying to get him to come back or whatever, goes to his local gas station. And this gas station worker is just such a prick. He's such an asshole to this guy. Every time he comes into the gas station, you'll see it when you watch the movie. So the main character, one of the main characters, walks in, orders a slushie, right? And then he's talking to his friend outside, and he drank like 3/4 of the slushie. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to go get a refill. And his friend says, why's your finger in your butt? So then the main character who had his finger in his butt and also ordered the slushie walks inside, goes up to the counter and says to the guy, he goes, dude, I think there's something wrong with the slushie. And I was like, what do you mean? Something along those lines. Not the exact words, whatever. But he goes, yeah, smell it. So he grabs his slushie cup with his finger that he just stuck down his ass and sticks it up to the guy, and he goes, yeah, smell this. And the guy's like, oh, that smells terrible. Oh, let me get you another one. So my dude got a slushie for free. Smart. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely hilarious. I mean, if I could roll the clip on here and not be sued for copyright, I definitely would, but I can't do that. So I highly recommend the movie, Ready to Rumble. It's fantastic. Wrestling fans, you'll love it. But even if you're not a wrestling fan, absolute comedy movie. I mean, it's just funny all around. Highly recommend. Ready to Rumble. Go watch it. Draft Top. All right, guys, you know what time it is. It's time for me to tell you about our sponsor, Draft Top. Draft Top is this cool little bar tool you see in my hand here. If you're listening and not watching, you're just going to have to hear me talk about it like I talk about it every single week. But it's this cool little bar tool. You take and put it right on top of your beer can, give it a little squeeze, a little friction to the left, a little friction to the right, boom, top of your beer pops off, and guess what? Your beer can just became a cup. That's right. So forget about a red Solo cup, I'll fill you up. Forget about wasting dishes, stuff like that, because you don't need that, because we just made your beer into a cup. Makes for a complete better drinking experience. You can smell the aromas of the alcohol, and of course, you can chug that beer a hell of a lot faster. Highly recommend. I want you to have one. You want you to have one. Draft Top wants you to have one. So get your Draft Top now at www.drafttop.com, and don't forget to use promo code 10%-GarageBoozing at checkout for 10% off site-wide. Doesn't matter what you buy on the website, put it in your cart, 10% off, 10%-GarageBoozing for 10% off. That is 10%-GarageBoozing for 10% off at checkout, drafttop.com, site-wide. Get it. You won't regret it. All right, back to the show. I love me some Draft Top. All right, well now, folks, we've got a little Q&A action for you. So I posted on social media earlier, give me some Q&A questions. We're going to put them live on the episode tonight, this solo episode, with me, myself, and I, a.k.a. Chase, with the face, for radio. But anyway, so first question here is, what's your biggest fear? Whew. Tough question. No bullshit, I think I'll put dying at number one. Like, I'm not excited to die. The thought of dying scares me. Like, if I ever think about it, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to die one day. Yeah, not favorable. I don't like that. I don't like thinking about it. It just, like, creeps me out. I mean, yeah, sure, afterlife, this and that can be great, but, like, still, like, the fact of dying and, like, leaving the earth still scares me. And if it doesn't scare you, like, good for you, but, like, a lot of the times when people say, I'm not afraid to die, I call bullshit. I think 99% of us, 99.99% of us are scared to die. That answers that. The next one I have on here is, if you could live anywhere, where would it be? Another tough question, because honestly, I do love upstate New York because all my friends and family are here. Although I do have family down south, which would be great. I would love to see my family down south more often. But, like, if we're talking somewhere like where family's not a thing, oof. I do love the United States of America, so I'd have to stay in America. Maybe North Carolina. Florida would be cool, but, like, my mom lived in Florida for 10 years of my life. And when I would see her in the summer, like, I'd get off the plane and it was just like a heat stroke. I couldn't breathe. Me, like, myself being from upstate New York, where it's cold and, like, 60s in the summer, going to Florida where it's 100 degrees in the summer. Yeah, no, not cool. So North Carolina, I'd say it's like a medium, like right in the middle of both. So, like, they see all four seasons still, but they don't get the snow as bad as we do in New York. And it's nice there. It's right by, and, you know, like, the ocean's close to North Carolina. Like, yeah, North Carolina all day. North Carolina's the answer. All right, the next question I have here is, oof. All right, so if you could change anything about yourself, what would it be? Easy. I'd give myself 2 more inches. No doubt. Because if I gave myself 2 more inches, I'd go from 5'10" to 6 foot. Yeah, get your mind out of the gutter. I know you guys were all thinking. But anyway, I'm talking my height here. So I'm 5'10". My license says 5'11" because I gave myself an inch on the license. But, like, still, not 5'11". I would love nothing more than to say I'm 6 foot. And that's it. That's my only answer to that. 6 foot would be awesome. That's a man. I'm a man child right now because I'm not 6 foot. Being less than 6 foot sucks because you're not tall. You're short. And if I was 6 foot, I could say I was tall. I could look down on people, like, talk to people, look down like this. No, when I talk to people, I'm looking up like this. You don't think 2 inches makes a difference? Trust me. 2 inches makes a difference. So that'd be the only thing I could change. Because other than that, I love myself. I'm the man. My life is awesome. I love who I am. I love everything about myself. And, like, self-love is important. So if you don't love yourself, love yourself. Because you're the only you're going to be able to love. Wow. Now I'm talking Gandhi stuff, right? Damn. All right, next question we have here for the Q&A is, do you have a nickname? Funny story about that. I actually have 2 nicknames, and let me explain. So I wouldn't necessarily say nicknames, but I'd more say alter egos. But I use them as nicknames. Like, people, well, I don't use them, but, like, people call me these nicknames. So my 2 nicknames are Chaz and Chuz. And Chaz just became a thing because, like, I think Riley, my best friend, he's been on the podcast, and you know Riley. Riley, like, when we were younger, used to call me Chaz instead of Chase, and it used to piss me off. But then as I got older, actually once I turned 21, before I was 21, I didn't drink much, to be honest with you. So, like, I think I got drunk on prom night and maybe one other time before that, but I was always the DD. I was the guy, like, bringing my friends around, like, never drank much. So then after I turned 21, like, then I can legally buy alcohol, so I started drinking a little bit more. And then my alter egos developed. So sober me is Chase. And how this became a thing, I wish I could tell you. I don't know. So, like, if my friends are listening to this, I'd love you to tell me because I don't even know the backstory behind this. But sober me, not drinking, I'm Chase. I start drinking, get a little drunk, a little tipsy, then I become Chaz. But then when I keep drinking and lights are out and nobody's home, that's when we meet Chuz. So, yeah, 3 alter egos, I guess you could say. Chase, Chaz, and Chuz. Chase is my favorite. Chaz is actually real cool. Chuz, he sucks. Let's keep Chuz away, because Chuz is when I fall on the floor and crack my head open and all that stuff that we've talked about before. And Chuz is when we just go and make life wild decisions. So we like Chaz, we like Chase. Chuz, you gotta stay away for a little bit. Whew. And final question we have here from my boy Tommy Tet. We've got, oh God. Would you rather butt chug a beer or eat a full beer, can and all? So my my choices here are to butt chug a beer, which for those of you that don't know, that means stick a beer in your ass and finish it, or eat a full beer can and all. So that means I'm digesting the metal or whatever, aluminum, and eating the whole beer. Yeah, no, I'll butt chug the beer all day. I heard that gets you very drunk. Never done it, never will. But if it was a life or death situation, I had to pick one of those two. I'm not gonna eat a beer can. So stick the beer in my ass, and I guess I'll have a good time for then, and then like probably get alcohol poisoning if it's a full beer. Like I don't know how that works, but people say it's wild. Yeah, I don't know. I'm picking the butt chug. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Sounds a hell of a lot better than eating aluminum. But all right, guys, that's all the time we have this week on this episode of the Garage Boozing Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me once again. And please don't forget the absolute number one way to support the brand. Buy some merch. We've got some hats, hoodies, t-shirts, you name it, we got it. And your merch is available at www.garageboozing.net. I cannot stress enough that is the number one way to support the brand. Thank you guys so much for all your love and support. And please don't forget to follow us on all of your favorite social media accounts at Garage Boozing, as well as YouTube. And of course, you've got to subscribe, hit the follow button, whatever the button says, on your favorite podcast platform. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're there. Name a podcast platform, we are there. We're everywhere. And by we, I mean me, because it's a one-man show. But thank you guys again so much for joining in. But yeah, guys, that's it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you nerds next week.
Ladies, gentlemen, and nerds. Do you have what it takes to be a guest on the fastest growing alcohol chugging and nonsense talking podcast? Well, now is your chance. The Garage Boozing Podcast has new guests every week, and you could be one of them. Just simply log on to www.garageboozing.net. Click the Be on the Show tab and submit your information. It's that simple. Join the boozement or be a loser. Don't miss your chance because we're taking this to the moon.